brief, they are actually it's explained. So I request you to go through, so that actually these are the very important part. Actually, you'll be knowing, I mean, what are the different this actually thermal spraying process. So in plasma spray, that is actually most popular among these all thermal spray event. Okay. So last class actually already I discussed. So here once again, this in plasma spray process. So first actually we need to generate one plasma, and plasma there should be one anode and cathode, and in between that anode and cathode this particular arc will generate. And then what will happen, if you purge one inert gas in that arc, so this means ionization will happen. So in that arc, whatever that electron will there, that is actually will hit this actually argon, neutral argon, and it will make argon plus, and then plasma will form. And of course there will be a jet, I mean high speed jet. And so plasma jet you can see here, and this is a continuous process. So argon will flow, and then plasma also will be actually having up to a plasma cone will have a certain distance, that plasma cone will be there. And in the meantime that powder, again with a inert carrier gas like nitrogen, actually it will be purged through this gas. And this powder, when it will come in that plasma range, then what will happen, immediately it will be melt. So then, or maybe partially melt, and then it will be transferred to that substrate. And in that condition, so if it melt or some partially melt material, when it will be stick there, so kind of it's kind of welding kind of thing you can say, or it will join, or it will actually make a strong bond on the surface. So in actually plasma spray process, that is actually big advantage. Whatever the coating you are getting here, that is actually extremely hard coating. This is the powder, whatever we use, we are going to feed here, and this is actually spray film. So whatever film you will get, that is actually very strong and robust. But in this case, keep in your mind the substrate heating not required, because whatever deposited material is coming, that is actually very, that is temperature will be very high. So that is actually automatically it will make a strong bond. You can see here this is the arc formation, and then in that arc, through that arc, the ionization of this particular gas is happening. And finally this is actually plasma region, that plasma jet, and this is the powder. So whatever powder is coming, this powder, it may actually it will be that in flight particle. So this powder will come, and this is actually unmolten, and it's semi molten. And also you can see that inside actually not melt, but outside is melt, and this is fully molten. This all particle will come, and it will sit on the substrate, and it's a high temperature. So immediately it will make a very strong bond with that neighboring particle or with the substrate. Okay. So that is actually this in plasma spray. So let's now understand little bit about this plasma spray process. So plasma spraying is one of the most widely used thermal spraying technique, which finds a lot of application due to its versatility of spraying a wide range of material from metallic to non-metallic. So that is a unique advantage. Since we are doing the melting of the particle and sticking on the surface, irrespective of the surface, so any substrate we can coat, and any material we can coat. So that is a unique advantage of this thermal process. Okay. And for spraying a high melting point materials like refractory ceramic materials, cermets, etc. So those material like refractory ceramic materials, cermets are very difficult to coat. So those material can be done easily. And this process is part of thermal spraying, in which finely divided this uh, metallic and non-metallic materials are deposited in a molten or semi-molten state on a on a prepared substrate. So prepared substrate, what does it mean? Like if I have a very smooth surface, maybe actually it's not good for a plasma spray coating. So that's why the sandblasting or similar technique is being done to make it rough. So on the rough surface that it will stick nicely. So that's why actually that prepared surface. And also some sort of surface cleaning is required before this coating. And in this in the late 50s or early 60s, the first attempt were reported using plasma torch for spraying of primarily refractory material. So initially it was developed for refractory coating and using plasma torch. And almost any material can be used for plasma spraying on almost any type of substrate. So this is a unique advantage. This advantage you might not have in other technique. This flexibility is probably one of the major reasons for the rapid development of this technology. And this high temperature enable this use of coating material with very high melting point, such as alloy, some of that high melting point alloy, ceramics, ceramates, and refractory. So like actually majority of the ceramates or refractory, their melting point maximum is 3000. But then 3000 is not a big deal in plasma. We can reach that temperature easily. So that's why any material can be deposited. So that is actually the advantage. And materials can be processed as long as, this is a very important part, temperature difference of at least 300 Kelvin between the melting point and the decomposition or the evaporation temperature. So little bit gap should be there, that melting point and that evaporation temperature, minimum 300 K gap should be there. And then only actually that will be a good material for plasma spray process, because in plasma spray temperature will be very high. So it that's why this some gap should be there between this melting and then that decomposition or evaporation. Among other key features of plasma spraying are the formation of this microstructure with fine non-columnar or equiax grain. So in normal, like actually physical vapor deposition, you will have a columnar growth. In columnar growth means, if we talk about the mechanical application, it's not a robust coating or it's not a hard coating. But in this case, that microstructure with fine non-columnar and equiax grain. So that's why actually you are getting such a high hardness or high strength of this material and ability to produce that homogeneous coating. And then do not change in composition with thickness and length of deposition time. So in film actually, if you change the thickness in physical vapor deposition, morphology will change. But in this case, it's not happen. Whatever the particle will come and stick there. So it will not change. If you increase the thickness, morphology will not change. And length of deposition time, if you for a longer time also, it will not change. Because we are not doing any substrate heating. This here film formation pattern, coating pattern is different. And the ability to process material in virtually any environment like air, reduced atmosphere pressure, high pressure, or underwater. So this means different actually environment also can be used for the deposition. An application for plasma spray include corrosion, erosion, temperature, and abrasion resistant coating and production of monolithic and near net shape. Okay, so monolith means single layer. So if you want to sometimes the deposit a single layer, so that is also possible by this like actually some single layer material. So that is also possible and near net shape, and which at the same time take advantage of rapid solidification process. And this powder of glassy metal can be plasma spray without changing their amorphous characteristics. So that is also unique advantage. So suppose that if you want to make a metallic glass coating, that is also possible. And you know glass is an amorphous material, so if you heat it, it may crystalline. But in this case actually, that is also can be, controlled. High temperature superconducting material can be processed, and a new application of the plasma spraying in it producing that hydroxyapatite coating onto the stem of orthopedic that endoprosthesis. So like actually, this is also, some latest application, like let's say that uh, someone has a fractured bone So bone need to be fixed by some metal plate. So this metal plate, of course, is a metal object, so it's not compatible to our body. But if you make a hydroxyapatite, that is our bone material, coating on top of it, so then actually the toxicity will be much, much less and compatibility will be more. So, but this actually in our body fluid, this it should be very hard coating, then only it will stick there, because body fluid has a corrosive action. So that's why this plasma spray coated material, if you use it, at least without any, I mean, hazard, we can use this kind of implant. Now the process in this technique, an arc is created between the tungsten cathode and a copper anode. So one tungsten cathode will be there and copper anode will be there. In between there is an arc will be created, and generated plasma gas is forced to pass this annular space between that electrode. So plasma gas, that is actually preferably argon, actually will pass through this electrode, and gas undergoes ionization in the high temperature environment and resulting this plasma while passing through the arc. Okay, so plasma will form, and already we'll have seen that plasma is nothing but ionized gas, and it's made of this ionized gas, ionized atom, then actually free electron, some of the neutral atom, everything mixture will be there. And the temperature in the plasma arc can be as high as 2000 to 20,000 degrees Celsius, and it's capable of melting anything. So that is actually very strong statement, but that is true. And this ionization is achieved by the collision of electrons with of arc. So collision of the electron of arc with this neutral molecule of the gas. So two electrode will be there, arc will be generated. Then when this argon gas will pass through that arc, so then actually electron will have a collision with this neutral argon gas, and it will convert to argon plus. The plasma that protrudes out of this electrode and this encasement in the form of a flame. Okay, so you can see there is a, like in sputtering, actually whatever the plasma region we can see by visual color. So here also some flame will be observed, and then electrodes are actually water cooled. Electrode we need to water cool because this is a very high temperature we are dealing, so that's why we have to be very careful. And the raw coating material in powdered form is poured into this flame, and which require feed rate. So that powder with some carrier gas need to be purged. Okay, so if you go to that figure here, yeah, this is actually, you can see that powder will purge in that plasma flame. Okay, and with some carrier gas, preferably nitrogen. And then powder melt immediately by gain of plasma energy and the momentum, and then rush towards the target to form a thin deposited layer. Okay, and layer by layer deposition is possible, but elaborate cooling arrangement is required to protect that spray system from excess heating. So this part is very important. Cooling system is must and mandatory. Until unless cooling system is not functioning properly, we should not start the machine. Now this equipment, plasma spray equipment setup, consists of what are that item? First is actually plasmatron. What is plasmatron? It is the device which houses the electrodes and in which the plasma reaction takes place. It has a shape of a gun, and it is connected to water-cooled power supply cable and powder supply hose and this gas supply hose. So that is actually the main area where this plasma can be generated. So two electrode will setup will be there, and then arc will generate. Then power supply unit. So normally plasma arc work in low voltage like 30 to 60 volt and high current 300 to 700 amps, so very high current. Okay. And then DC ambient, and this is actually required DC, but the available AC power supply of 3-phase 440 volt must be transformed and rectified to suit that reactor. So that's why, and this is taken care by the power supply unit. So I need a continuous DC supply with the particular voltage requirement and current requirement, and that's why this AC normal phase first need to transfer with that required current. That's why you should have a strong power supply unit. Then powder feeder, the powder is kept inside a hopper and a separate gas line direct is actually carrier gas. So this is basically deals with how that powder will flow with that help of carrier gas, and it will reach to that plasma region or plasma flame. And flow rate, that is also can be controlled, and that is also very much important. Flow rate of powder flow. Then coolant and water supply unit, that is required because it circulates the water into plasmatron, because where plasma is generating, they are required. Power supply unit, there also some excessive heating is should not be there. We have to take care, and power cables. And unit capable of supplying refrigerated water are also advisable, available. And the control unit, so several parameters need to be controlled away, like actually current control. So that is very much important, because there is a particular limit of the current is there. Second is the gas flow rate. So gas flow rate is important for both. One is actually for plasma generation, second is for actually purging that powder. So these are also we need to be controlled. So that's why very strong control unit is there required to get that proper deposition. Now the requirement for the plasma spraying. So what are the requirement? So first is the roughness of the substrate surface, that is important. As I told that some roughness is required, that's why sandblast technique is used. Then cleanliness of the surface, like actually cleanliness is very important. Actually what happened that some grease kind of material if is there, so it may hamper this coating, or some dust is there, it may hamper. So that's why better to clean the surface before going for this plasma spray coating. Bond coat. So what is the bond coat? Bond coat actually is one coating. Let's say on top of metal you want to coat a metal oxide coating. Metal has a different TFC, thermal expansion coefficient, TEC, and metal oxide has a different thermal expansion coefficient, TEC. So to adjust, we should have one material that will be in between. So bond coat, that is the purpose is being used, so that actually when excessive heating or cooling, there should not be any crack formation. And then cooling water. So cooling is mandatory, as I told, whenever we'll deal with that plasma. And process parameter in plasma spraying are power, plasma gas, then carrier gas. So plasma gas means preferably argon, carrier gas nitrogen preferably. Then actually powder related variables, powder flow rate and powder material, powder size, particle size, standoff distance, that actually spray distance from this actually the flame to the substrate distance, that is also very much important. Then spraying angle, substrate cooling, that is also required, an angle of this powder injection, that is also important, because so that actually wastage of powder will not be there. And substrate cooling is required. Sometimes substrate may be overheated, its temperature will shoot. So that is also you have to be careful, because high temperature melt material, when it's coming, melt material will have very high temperature. So that's why substrate cooling is required. And this is actually one typical parameter table, just operating parameters and values, like plasma arc current 260 to 500, and then arc voltage 40 to 44, torque, this input power is kilowatt, is actually is different, around 11 to 21 in that range is used. Plasma gas flow rate, then secondary gas flow rate, that is actually nitrogen, carrier gas argon, that flow rate, and then powder feed rate, and then torque to base distance, So in millimeter, 100 millimeter. So 100 millimeter means only 10 centimeter. So this is actually, I mean, typical distance is being maintained in for one particular example. This is just a one model example. What are the advantage of this plasma spraying? Let's understand, because this is very important. So very much flexible in coating material selection and optimization of specific resistance to that corrosive environment and that particle abrasion, that erosion. Then coating system like multi-layer or functionally graded can be used. And unique alloy and microstructure can be obtained with thermal spraying, which are not possible with wrought material, and these include the continuously graded composites and corrosion-resistant amorphous phase. The cost of coating solution are normally significantly lower than those of highly alloyed bulk material, and thermal spray coating are especially interesting for their cost and performance ratio. Is additionally offering the possibility of on-site application and the repair component. So this on-site application definitely, so on-site, I mean, you need not to do that part actually in other area, and then actually given a sufficiently accessibility for this sprayer and his equipments. So this coating actually on site we can do it, repair purpose we can do it, and form microstructure with fine aqueous grain without columnar boundary. That's why you are getting that hard coating, and produce deposit that do not change in composition with thickness. That is a unique advantage. So sometimes we need very high thickness, like actually for implant. On top of implant, if you want to make a hydroxyapatite coating, minimum 100 micron is required. So this kind of high thickness is easily possible by plasma spray coating. But 100 micron is practically impossible by any other physical vapor deposition, and can change from the depositing a metal to a continuously varying mixture of metal, ceramics, or functionally graded material. So any material in fact can be used. High deposition rate, so very high deposition rate is there, and fabricates that freestanding forms of virtually any material or any material combination. So two material if you want to deposit, that is combination is also possible. And then process material in virtually any environment, air, reducing gas pressure, or high pressure. So in that any environment it can be used. So this is, and today actually I'll put it that hard coating as well as this plasma spray, the 2 ppt, and then actually I mean in your this mid-sem, this part, sorry, this not mid-sem, this in your quiz, this part will be considered. And as this Seer told, that your quiz on Monday 6 o'clock, right, Utsav?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
6 to 6:20.
6 to 6:30. Okay, fine. So just I'll take an attendance, and in the meantime, if you have any questions, so please ask. This plasma spray part, I request all of you, please pay attention, read, and try to understand the technique, because in metallurgy, these are the future. You need it. Okay, so any questions, please do ask. Otherwise, I just would like to wrap up. Okay, then. And Monday, that 9 to 9:30 class will be there, and afternoon, but Monday's class will not be counted in your quiz. And today I'll put these 2 ppt, hard coating as well as plasma spray coating. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.